Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Before I starting my own presentation, I would like to introduce myself. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ismat Halimatu Sadiah and my NPM is 19220387 and my class in B1 2019. Okay, I would like to take this opportunity to deliver the message of my proposal. Okay, the title of my research proposal is The Implementation of Padlet in Teaching Writing in the Context During COVID-19 Pandemic. Okay, let me begin by explaining the background of my research proposal. I would like to give you some background information related to my research proposal. Okay, here is the background of the research. Language is an important tool for human use to communicate and sharing thought with people around the world. There are so many languages in the world. Based on where they live, the language will be different. One of them is English, as an international language. English has been used by most people from different nations for education, politics, business, and other. It means that English is a local language to use whether for people with multilingual societies. In this era of pandemic of COVID-19, people have to stay at home. People some choose to fill their activities with communicate with people around the world. One of them is chatting or writing activities. Based on of the curriculum 2013, writing is part of 4 skills in English subject for student needs to learn. And Padlet is one of many information media to improve student skills ability, specifically in writing. Okay, still background of the research. The teacher might employing a strategy to make writing activity become effective. Responding to the problem, the researcher conduct this research to find solution and can be useful by adults and future and creating online learning process. There are many strategies which can be used by teacher to teach writing. Here, the researcher will implement interest in learning writing in pandemic with title The Implementation of Padlet in Teaching Writing in Context During COVID-19 Pandemic. Okay, let's run to the next issue. Now, I would like to move on the next part, that is C, research question. Okay, based on the background of the research, the researcher provides four research questions. The first is, how are the teaching scenario and implementation of Padlet in teaching writing the context during COVID-19 pandemic? And the second is, what are students and teachers' response toward the implementation of Padlet in teaching writing the context during COVID-19 pandemic? And then, what are students' difficulties in learning through Padlet in teaching writing the context during COVID-19 pandemic? And the last research question is, what are teacher obstacles of during learning process in the implementation of Padlet teaching writing the context during COVID-19 pandemic? Okay, the next is, now I would like to move on the text part, that is objective of the research. Okay, based on the research question, the objective of the research are, the first, to find out the teaching scenario and implementation of Padlet in teaching writing in context during COVID-19 pandemic. And the second, to find out students and teacher response toward the implementation of Padlet in teaching writing in context during COVID-19 pandemic. And then, to to identify certain difficulties in learning through Padlet in teaching writing the context during COVID-19 pandemic. And the last objective of the research is to identify the teacher obstacle of daring learning process in the implementation of Padlet in teaching writing the context during COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, the next is significances of the research or benefit. Okay, the first is for teacher. A teacher can use this research for instructional materials and then to help teacher improve learning and teaching writing skill in online class. And then teacher can find an interesting, useful, effective method in teaching writing. And then significances for student is student can improve their writing skills. And B, student can have fun and enjoy learning process, especially writing skill. And then student can interest to writing in various ways. Okay, still explaining significances of the research for research. For research itself, a research can improve knowledge and experience, and then research can finish the final paper. And next for next learning process. As a reference for the learning process, especially in writing skills. And then to know the comparison approach towards student improvement in writing. Let's turn to the next issue. Now I would like to move off the next part, that is definition of key term. The first is Padlet. Padlet is a software to create an online bulletin, image, link, video, or voice. And second is writing. Ramlan 1992 said that writing is representation or symbol of language. Writing ability are an important skill in communication. And the last is recount text. The context is a text that telling the reader about one story, action, or activity. Its purpose to entertain the reader. Okay, the next is literature review. The first, Padlet. A definition of Padlet application. According to French Instances Istiana 2018, Padlet is an online notice board where both student and teacher can post a note which can contain links, video, images, and document file. And B, how to use Padlet. The first is how to start is browse and go to https://padlet.com to sign up. And user will be able to sign up with Facebook or Google account. And then user can create a template. User can start writing or posting. And then user storing their post. And last, user sharing their post link to others. Okay, still literature review. The second is writing. The first, definition of writing. Writing is one of 4 skills that look forward for students to produce text, especially in English learning. And B, the element of writing. The first is purpose, organization, support, expression, and correctness. Okay, still with literature review, the last is recount text. A, definition of recount text. Recount text is one of genders that students learn. And B, generic structure of recount text. The first is orientation, event, and reorientation. Okay, now I would like to move on the text. The next part that is methodology and research. The first is research methodology, preparation procedure, implementation procedure, and the last is evaluation procedure. Okay, the next is subject of the research. The subject of the research is student of SMK Negeri 1 Cipanas Cianjur. Okay, SMK same as senior high school. Okay, let's turn to next issue, that is instrument of research. The first is test, and the second is interview, and the last is observation sheet. Okay, the last is data collection technique and analysis. The first data collection technique, there are tests, interview, and observation. And then data collection analysis, there are content analysis and narrative analysis. Okay, that's all of my presentation. Thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.